Hello and welcome back everybody to Moneyball. We are back with a new episode and we're going to be going through the months of November, December and entering into the January transfer window. And I highly suspect that unlike the previous January, in this one we will be making some transfers. Well, I think definitely that's going to be the case because, look, going back to the recent results, that's what happened on camera last time, wasn't it? That was last episode. We went through all those fixtures together. It feels a bit precarious. It feels like that we've recovered, and when we're doing well, it's a little bit on sand, isn't it? Like at any point, it could just fall apart. It's not a very good foundation to be on this season. It doesn't feel like, but let's see what happens. We've got a long way to go until the January transfer in terms of league matches and European games too. But we're not going to focus on those too much. I fully suspect that we will get through to the next round of that. In the Pro League, though, not looking good, is it? We are a full. Well, the team that are top of the league literally have double the points that we've got, so not good at all. And the team that's second bottom has scored 18, we've only scored 10, so says a lot, doesn't it? So what we're going to do here, we're going to holiday through November and then come back and we'll review how some of the games went, look at some of the matches, some of the stats, some of the performances. I won't look at too much at the team stats and the player specific metrics until the end of December, where we can do like a mid-season review, as it were. We can go through some of the team stats, the player stats, review the situation, maybe review the manager's position if things have got that bad. Obviously, we don't know yet how bad things are gonna go. But let's see what happens. It's really funny how right now, in those 2 months of fixtures, how the situation could be completely different. Like monumentally different. We could be in a relegation fight. We could push ourselves all the way back to the top four, and we could be out of the cup or in the cup, and we could be probably going to be through in Europe anyway to the next round. But let's see how we do. Let's go through November and see what we can do in the month of November. Okay, so that's a snapshot of it. One league win. I mean, I really want to believe we're turning the corner properly here. It's not good, is it? That's the current league table. I mean, we're really in danger of not getting into that top championship group, are we? The only benefit is if we can finish in that second group and finish first, we can somehow get into Europe again if we were to then win the European playoff. But right now, I'm not impressed at all with this manager. Okay, so next we've got STVV who are 15th, then we have Standard Liège who are in the top half, then Anderlecht, and then Genk. So there's a path where his job is on the line going into January. I think there's a path there because I don't see. Let's say he draws that game, he might draw that game, and then he loses those two, and that is 3 home games in that. Don't forget. I mean, this. I feel like I don't want to be harsh on the sacking, and also finances. Take a quick look at this. So, 9 million is what we've got so far. One thing I looked at. It's the 1st of December, so we can look at this here. So we look at income versus expenditure. So our income last month was 1.3 and expenditure was 1.5. So we're losing about 200 grand a month, which isn't that bad really. For a loss, to be honest, we're going to be healthy at the end of the season. So, that's looking quite good. There's also a situation, when do you promote Ayrton Ernst here? Because the coaches love him. He's worth look at his valuation for a 16-year-old, only just turned 16 as well. He looks really good. His valuation's very high. I almost want to just give him a run in the team and see what stats he generates. I mean, he might even get into the team, to be honest. He must do based on the bloody results and performances so far, but there we are. Let's look through some of these. So we'll ignore the win. I mean, we scored a penalty, so we're just going to ignore that. Let's go to the first defeat here and see how we did away from home. So we created nothing again. 4-3-3. He's playing Labour left wing again. I'm not happy with this. I mean, at least he's got Farioli at central field with Murillo. He's tried a little bit there. Let's go on to the Bruges game here. We lost 1-0 in this game. Created similar XG to them. And then this time he's got Carlos back on the left wing, but then this time he moves Farioli to the right. Okay, and then we're going to look at this one here. We lost 2-1 at home. We created 0.89 XG with 4 shots on goal at home against a team that are where? Oh, they are second, to be fair. They are playing. They're having a good season, so there is that at least. We'll ignore the European games. Let's have a look, though. Yeah, we're clearly going to be going through that. That's the one positive we've got. We're actually above Brighton, which is quite funny. So I think for this, what I'm going to do is go one game at a time. So we're going to see one game at a time, the results together for December. So we'll do it slightly differently to November. And what we'll do is, after the Genk game, because that's always the winter break. What I like about this league structure is the final game just after Christmas is always then the last game for the winter break that you get for a few weeks here. So that's actually pretty useful for us. So let's have a look and see how we do against STVV first. I mean, he's got to try and avoid defeat here, really, I think. He really needs to try and avoid defeat. So how did he get on? He got a 1-0 win. Fair play. Okay, we managed to get a 1-0 win. Let's have a look at the stats. Was it a earned victory? I mean, we played really well. 1.72 XG to 0.6, 3 shots to 12. Looking pretty good. Yeah, snapshot there. 1.72 XG, 4 half chances, 1 clicker chance to 1 half chance, 1 clicker chance to them. But yeah, pretty good. Let's take a look at the goal. Not seen a goal for a while. Let's have a look at a goal and see how it went in. How do we create it? It's a central fielder to a winger, so I'm assuming open play of some sort. Yeah, it is. Varioli gets it, plays it across goal. There you go. Low cross. Nice finish. Okay, we're going to skip 2 matches. We're not going to come back for the cup game. We'll assume he gets that. We'll come back after the Liège game and see how he gets on in the next league match. Managed to get a 2-0 win. I mean, look at this. All of us see. Every time we think that it's going to be the end, the team comes back, the manager gets the boys going and gets us winning matches again. He's probably earned himself, you would think at this point. He's probably going to save himself from any trouble. I mean, that puts us, we're still 10 points. We're still well off it though, but that's all right. We'll take that. We'll come back for the Anderlecht game, or after the Anderlecht game here as well. But no goals conceded in December so far either. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Anderlecht at home, second place Anderlecht. How did we get on? We managed to get a 1-0 defeat, unfortunately. Let's have a look at the match stats quickly. Yeah, didn't create a lot of them, did we? I mean, they didn't get many shots, but they did get enough XG to score the goal. And that was the end of that. 1-0 to them. And that leaves us still quite far adrift, but yeah. Okay, we're going to come back after the game, and that is going to be like our mid-season review. We're going to look at all the stats and then look to scout for players to sign for this transfer window. And we'll review the manager's performance as well, I guess. But I don't think he's done bad enough to get sacked yet, but he's also, yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to lose a bit of faith. Okay, so managed to get ourselves a 1-0 win against Genk, who were obviously top of the league. So that's a really good result for us. We'll take that, definitely. That's a great result, really, for the boys. Put us getting the goal. And yeah, I mean, not much XG being created, but I guess that's fine. So it shows we've got it in us to get the odd. It shows we've got it in us to get the odd big result, but still a little bit behind. There's potential to recover this a little bit, but yeah, the manager's not going to be in trouble for his job. Definitely not. But let's take a look at some of the stats anyway. Let's start with the team stats. So average possession, we are currently 12th in the entire league, which I think I need to get out of the way here. So we are currently 12th in the entire division for average possession. XG over performance is going to be 14th. So we don't have any forwards that are really scoring any cheap goals for us. I mean, look at Anderlecht, 12. They're 12 above. We are currently 3.49 below. That's not great, is it? So are we the worst in the league? Not quite the worst in the league, no. Expected goals for... No, let's go. Non-penalty XG. Non-penalty expected goals. We are currently 12th with 19. And that really isn't acceptable, is it? Pass completion ratio, we are currently 12th with 84%. Passes completed. I want to see the chances created and all that stuff again, really. So final third passes for 68. We are currently 9th in the league. I mean, our conversion ratio is absolutely woeful, by the way. Chances created, we are currently 12th with 44. I mean, it's just not good enough. And like, for example, let's just take who's currently not even top. Is anybody clearly top? Okay, let's take a quick look at Club Brugge, because they play, not only are they above us, they're currently second, but they also play 4-3-3 incidentally, which is why I want to take a look at them specifically here. So let's get this custom view on. And let's just see what they're doing compared to our players. So we're looking at let's go. Open play key passes 1.72, right? We're looking at, I mean, I could get this on the screen together so we can see this at the same time, but for now, I should do it this way. Let's just take out our 2 best central field players. Let's just say those 2. That is above our 2 players here. Chances created per 90 is 0.71. I mean, that's also above ours there too. We're looking then at progressive passes per 90 of 6.42. Progressive passes per 90, nowhere near. Dribbles per 90, as he got higher on that as well, maybe 1.38. So Varioli here has got a dribbles per 90 of 2.99, but that is because he's also played quite a few matches out there on the wing. In fact, almost half the matches he's played wide, so it's hard, I guess, to compare stats directly one for one. But you can see by all the metrics that we're looking at there, compared to the 2 players that start the most often in central field, that we are a significant step behind in central field still. And now it could just be player. It could be the players, it could be the quality of the player, as well as being a good offensive player. But it could also be the team playing style too. Yeah, look, and Club Brugge are top of chances created of the entire division. And they are currently second, playing the same formation as us. So I'm going to look at a few things here. So let's look back at this player here. If we look at open play key passes, right, 1.72, 1.25 here, right? I feel like we need to go and get a central field player that is consistently hitting. I mean, Rasmussen has played some matches in there too, to be fair. He's played quite a few games in central midfield too. He's actually got the play key passes that we need, but then chances created per 90, he's a bit lower on. Progressive passes, he's actually quite high on. And dribbles per 90 is quite good. See, the obvious thing to me here is play Farioli and Rasmussen together in midfield and play Puertas as the pivot player. But he's not doing that. He's always playing Puertas central midfield and then playing Farioli on the wing. What I might do, right, is if this season gets lost completely, let's say in February or something like that, when we get to there, if in the league we're clearly not going to achieve the targets that we need to, I might just set the team up and ask the manager to play the way the squad's been designed, just to see how the results go. And if there's a significant uptick in not just results but performance too, then well, I don't know what to do with that, really. I don't know whether that means we need a new manager, but yeah, I sort of do still want to let the managers do most of the stuff, because I feel like it gives them a personality, it gives them like a reason to be hired, right? So, but I would just do it as like an experiment just to see what the difference would be, maybe. But I mean, for now, I feel like he's just picking the wrong players at pivot. Like, who's he playing pivot right now? In this match here, when we beat Genk, he likes to play Siddiqui here as the pivot player. I suppose I could sell him. I didn't want to sell him anyway. I could sell him, cash in on him, and buy like another right back. And that would then force him surely to play Puertas deeper. I'm looking as well to see who's he not playing right now. So pretty much everybody, or let's just say these is really only those two. It's quite a small squad, I guess. Like, he's not playing those two really. I mean, Diego Hernandez has got a bit of interest for a loans, and so does Murillo here. Surprised he's not played Chapella much. I would have thought he would be using him quite a bit, but he's not really. But carrying on the team detailed stats, continue to look at this. XG against, we are currently tied for 12th with 21. So we've got the 4th best defensive output in the league in terms of XG. Like, we've got the 4th best record for XG, or tied 4th. So that's incredible. So the issue is clearly in possession when you look at that. And maybe if we're conceding some cheap goals, because we should have conceded 21 this year. And how many have we actually conceded? Only 20. So, I mean, it's clear as day, we don't create enough chances, and our strikers are massively underperforming on their XG. So I still think another central midfield player and another striker that actually, well, we didn't really sign a striker then, did we? That was the thing. I'm tempted to just cash in on him. If he's not going to use him as a wing, he's going to use him as a striker. I think we cash in on him. I mean, he scored 13, but let's just take a look quickly at the strikers as well. Who's he played up front? I think those two mainly plays up front. I mean, extra performance isn't that bad. Who's hitting low? So Farioli's hitting it really badly. So is our backup striker. Any other attacking players? Not really. Oh, and Campos. Wow, Campos. So Campos has got minus 2.12 XG. And where's he even playing? Partially on the wing, partially in the middle. Yeah, the strikers aren't really the issue there looking at that. I guess the way that he plays his football, the chances get taken by the wingers quite a bit, and our wingers are not clinical. Even though it looked like they were in the stats, maybe the central midfield players are getting options as well. But yeah, that's where the XG performance is worse. If you put this in reverse order, so those are your worst players right there. I mean, I expect the centre backs to not be great, but it's everybody else really that's more of the issue than the actual striker. See, I guess that's why as well. If you were not to look at your analysis too closely, you would just assume that the forwards are the issue. But really, the forwards are scoring the chances they get, and Amora is scoring a goal every 162 minutes, which is okay. That's absolutely fine. He's actually not doing too badly. It's the other wide players. I mean, what I prefer to have is a striker that's more of a striker profile, like, you know, a 6-foot+ target type striker up front. Bring somebody like that in who can actually score clinically, and then have a more moved wide. That's what I would do, but the manager doesn't want to do that. So there we are. Final third passes against, we're 6th. We're basically the 4th lowest spenders in the entire division with minus 9.79 million spent this year. And then team salary, again, we're the same thing. I mean, that is quite impressive still with the team salary that we've got. But at least we're up to secure finances now, which is good for us. Well, we've got the money. Let's ask them to improve the training facilities and new facilities too. Just while we've actually got the money spare for this season. And improve youth recruitment. We'll just get all that going as well. Okay, quick update. My PC just crashed, and luckily it saved just before the Genk game, but that's the reason you now see Genk being 2-1 instead of 1-0, is that it was right before the game, so it's just simulated it again. Luckily, we still won. We still won the match, but it's now a different scoreline. But pretty much every other stat would be exactly the same that we all looked through. Everything is pretty much the same. But just so you're aware, that's why it's different. Okay, so I've just been messing around a little bit with some custom views for the managers, and this is what I've created. I've created a little custom view, which I probably should put in the... What I'll do is I'll put this in the Moneyball files folder that I've got shared in the description if you want to download all of them. I'll put this in there as well. It's both for the search and for the manager. I mean, the search you can do yourself because it depends on what you're looking for, of course. But this one will give you a pretty good snapshot. So what we've got here now is we've got the manager's name, the world reputation, their age, their nationality. So I mean, basic information about the managers here, how about them here. Then we've got the specific playing philosophy and game model stuff comes into here a little bit. And then their current situation, what club they're at, their contract, and all that kind of stuff. I could maybe even remove one of these, I guess, but there we are. And then we've got some interesting stuff. The success of the manager, how have they done? League wins, cups, promotions, all listed here, front and centre, which is good. Win ratio, draw ratio, and loss ratio. I thought the draw and loss ratio was important because the win ratio sometimes at teams near the bottom it only tells you so much of the story. It's like how many games are actually losing though? Are they avoiding defeating lots of those games? Because that can be important too, don't forget. So I wanted to make sure that we had all of that and the current time at the club. And that's really just so that when we're looking through at a manager, we can see a very quick snapshot. He's only just joined the club, so there's no point in looking at this manager. It just makes it really quick and easy, doesn't it, by having that there too. I thought that was quite a useful thing to add in. I just realised Diego Martinez has gone up to 3.5 stars manager. So as of right now, he has to come off the list because he's now above us. So I guess he's gone. I mean, I might just set this by win ratio and see how we get here. And then, of course, we're only looking for managers within our own star categories here. So honestly, if we were able to hire 3.5 star managers, there's quite a few people there that I would look at. Right now, for the 3 stars and below, there isn't too much else than we've already got. So we'll just carry on for now. And we'll review this at the end of the season. Hopefully we get our reputation up, but I don't think that's gonna happen because that would require some trophy wins. Well, maybe we can win the European trophy, and that would sort us right out. Okay, so the next thing will be to look for some players. We're going to look for some players with our metrics and see who we can turn up here. What's quite funny is I hadn't even actually adjusted anything yet, and Romelu Lukaku is actually hitting every single metric possible. Fortunately, we can't sign him, and he's on £1 million a week. So he's not an option, but it's interesting to see somebody actually hit every single metric. Fair play to him. Okay, so I've slowly taken down some of these stats, just the non-essential ones, and a player has appeared here, Jan Urbic, in the lower leagues in Germany. So it'll be a bit of a risky transfer in terms of the level of football, but he's hitting every metric. XG overperformance, I haven't touched that yet. He's hitting 8, which tells me sure that can't continue, but we'll definitely give him a scout and see if he comes back with anything interesting. I mean, he's almost worth signing just for the off chance that he can sustain it. It's a very low standard of football, though, I think, so we have to factor that into. What's interesting is Matthias Povera is still there. Like, he's still on the list for the stats that he's generating. I just wish he wasn't so expensive. I just don't think we can afford to pay that much money for him, really. I just think that's a little too expensive for him. But he is banging in the goals. Where's his team actually in the league? 5th. Where were they supposed to finish? 11th. So they're doing pretty well. It's hard to argue with his success. I mean, just looking at the profile of player that he is in the Argentine Premier League, scoring these kind of stats, I would hope to get him for something between £2 and £3 million total. Maybe let's go like after 50 games, we'll give you another 2. And then, I mean, if he ends up playing 50 games for us, let's go maybe 1.5, then that was worth it. And if he doesn't, then like really he's only a £2 million transfer, right? So they're going to take that. So I think what we do with him, we bring him in, and it's 50 league matches that this would take. So we'll keep him for a calendar year. We'll keep him for this half of a season, and then the first half of next season. And if he's not doing the business in that period, we try to sell him on, because then it's only a £2 million transfer, don't forget. It's only a £2 million transfer in that circumstance. And then if he's doing really well, he's probably worth the extra 2, even if you do eventually only get your money back on him because of the. I mean, if he's done that well, we're probably going to be a title challenging side. So we'll try and get him in. He's been on the list twice now, so we'll settle for that as a striker, I think. So again, we've sorted the wingers that we're looking for by conversion ratio. Diego Collado's appeared in the second tier in Spain with 3 goals in 20 appearances, a conversion ratio of 21%, shot on target ratio 57%. Doesn't get maybe too many chances. He's in the Villarreal B team. So give him a scalp. He could be an option. His contract's up at the end of the season, so maybe we try and hold off on giving an offer for him, and we'll try and get one free, maybe. We'll try that. And we've got Koita over here, who's in our division. He's transfer listed. He's hitting most of the metrics. He's a bit low on the dribbles per 90. About to lower the dribbles per 90. I always like to lower that one just because of the player role potential issue there. Like, I think in some matches, for example, our left winger has been an advanced playmaker since we've been here at the club. And that's going to really not be good for dribbles per 90. So, but he's hitting most of the others. I mean, he's playing for STVV and not having a good season. But I mean, he's hitting our metrics. Like, he's not on a great team. I mean, we'll give him a scout. I think he might be worth getting it. He might be worth bringing in at least as a backup. Although we've got a lot of backup wingers, we do sort of need some starting level difference makers, as it were. We need some big players coming in here to make a difference. Because right now we've got a lot of bits and pieces, and we haven't got a main course. We've got a lot of starters inside. We need a main course in there at the wing positions. Okay, we've got a player here, Manuel Duarte. Manuel Duarte playing in the Argentine Premier Division has 19 starts, 4 goals, 2 assists, dribbles per 90 of 3.30. Sprints per 90 is pretty good for the overall number that we're looking for too. Open key passes is good. He looks quite good actually for a winger. This guy looks quite good. What's he been doing anyway? He's on loan, right? He plays for Barraca Central. Barraca Central are currently 9th, and they were expected to be 25th. So they are having an excellent season. They are way overperforming, and it sounds like he's a major part of this. How much can we get him for? Can we get him for 500? Oh, see, again, we're in that sort of like, how about 1.5? And after 50 league matches, we'll give you another million if he's I mean, again, that's another player that we could be looking at there. I should be making notes on this to make sure we review these players in time. Because like, I don't see us losing either way there. Either by that, but before he even hits that league amount, we're probably going to know what we've got with him. And if he's really good, I'm happy to pay the extra money, really. I don't really see us losing in that scenario. Okay, one last player here, Byro Riveros. He is playing for O'Higgins in the Chilean First Division. They're currently 6th, and they're expected to finish 7th. So they're sort of hitting their mark, really. But he's hitting a lot of the metrics we want to see too. What do you reckon? 250. They'll take that. Okay. I mean, there's a player here called Matteo Irate. Absolutely banging in the assists. 19 assists in 40 games, which is just incredible. I mean, open play key passes per 90 1.86, progressive passes per 90 4.23. I mean, that is some serious stats right there. Like, we've got to give him a scout and see how much they want for him. That looks incredible. 19 years old too. Rasmussen, our own players there, by the way, as well. There you go. So it shows that he's doing the business this year more in possession. He's actually hitting the metrics more, which is good. Got to be honest, there's absolutely nobody central field. There really isn't anybody for us to sign. I'm actually really disappointed by that. I mean, I've been through it. I've lowered some metrics. It's got to a stage where I can't really lower them anymore in certain areas. It just gets too far removed from what we're looking for. So we're going to have to abandon central fielder search, apart from one player we found, the Peruvian youngster. A bit worried about that. Not great. Not a great search. We need to get more scouts going and get more players in this area too, which is another part of it, I think. So I will work on that over the transfer window, and I'll also set up the scouting towards the end of this year, so we have it done properly. And I can show you what I do as well for this kind of save. Okay, so I've sorted this by passes completed per 90. There's a couple of players there, like this guy looks pretty good, but he's obviously well out of price range. But I'll put him on the shortlist for now, so that we know he at least was hitting our stats. It's just that right now his valuation is just way offset from the stats, but we'll shortlist him for future reference. Santiago Cáceres playing for Vélez in the 2nd division in Argentina. They relegated last year. That's not great, is it? He's hitting a lot of the stats that we're looking for. He looks pretty good there, actually. Possessions per 90. Possessions 1 per 90 is pretty good. So what's impressive about him is his possessions 1 per 90 are really high, as is his passes completed per 90. He's got both ends of the spectrum. It's a good progressive passes too. So Santiago is definitely... Oh, he's only on a free. What do we think? What do you think wages-wise, agent? What do you reckon? We're gonna quote me 14. I mean, so we did 5.7. I mean, really, like 8.5 is probably the maximum I want to give. Relegation release clause of $500,000. There you go. So if Sony brings in 7 for you, you can go. Took that. Okay. Okay, fullbacks. Facundo Rivera's come up as a left back here. He has made 32 appearances. George Penalty is very low, and I'm assuming that's down to roll, but it may not be. He may just be a player that just doesn't dribble very well at all. Open play key passes penalty 1.32. Chances created penalty 0.24. Progressive passes penalty 5.93. Dribbles penalty is definitely the low scoring stat right there. I'm going to give him a scout. Now, right now, we don't really need a left back right this second, but that could be somebody to to watch out for futures if needed. John Catalano, very similar to the last player, but he's got very good dribbles per 90 and cross completion at 32% is very high too. That's what I like the look of with him. I'm going to give him a scout. See, I just think the valuation is just so high there. I just don't think we can compete with this. It's really, what I'm looking at is a lot of players that I'm finding are just like, in fact, I don't even want a left back right now. I just want a right back. We're just nowhere near like the ballpark financially. Okay, so Samir Chagui has appeared. Now, the reason I'm laughing is because he was a Paris FC legend in our first Moneyball. Well, not actually our second Moneyball series. First Moneyball series in the channel was with Barnsley. But yeah, he's appeared. His progressive passes is pretty good, to be fair. I mean, possessions won per... Tell you what, though, let's just take a look at this. Possessions won per 90, 20.01. Come on, Samir, let's give you a scout. Oh, so I know what his attributes were like in FM23. Well, I mean, to be honest, I can't remember. It's been such a long time. I know he's like a hybrid. He's like a side centre-back of a back three, is the type of player that he is. Got Ryota and Sondra here, both getting pretty decent stats in both the J-League and in Norwegian Premier Division, which is two good standards for us to compare against, for only compared to them. Tackle ratio is very similar between the two. Tackles per 90 is very similar. Key tackles per 90 is almost identical. Interceptions per 90 goes to Ryota. Blocks per 90 is almost identical. Pressure, I mean, this is pretty close across the board between these two players. They're slightly different. We're definitely going to scout these two. And could be good options. Very cheap as well. Very good cost-effective signings. The only issue I've got is that we've already got good depth centre-backs. Like, what we're looking for really is a standout starter to come in and be the starter. We've got a lot of good centre-backs, just not any great ones, I guess. Umbayamba. I mean, he looks really good. He looks really expensive. So he's probably somebody we're just going to shortlist for now and maybe scout without the intention of trying to buy them this transfer window. But he's hitting all the metrics, or at least a lot of them. I mean, he actually looks really good. One thing that I like about him is header win ratio is absolutely outstanding. 84%, a huge 84% header win ratio. Okay, Gabriel Aranda from the Argentine Premier League has a tackle ratio of 79%, tackles per 90 of 1.18. Possessions per 90 is good. Possessions won. I mean, like, he looks really good. And for somebody, I was going to say he's a smaller centre back. He's not, he's 6'3". I was going to say, though, again, he's very good in the air too. Another really good option without a glaring weakness, I would say, from the stats anyway. So, yeah, another good one, I think, potentially there. Okay, Santiago Quiros from the Argentine Premier League 2. He isn't as good in the air. Only 76% header-win ratio. He's not got any impressive things happening right there. But a tackle win ratio of 82% is really, really good. Tackles per 90 is like a little bit low. He looks like another really good option to put into the shortlist for a future scouting mission, maybe, if we get more money to purchase somebody with his kind of value. I wouldn't say he's worth that money right now, but it could be that in a few years' time that either his valuation comes down a bit and the stats then match the valuation a bit better, or it could be that his stats gets up even higher because he becomes a better player overall. So we'll give him a little scout. We'll monitor him. Right now, the valuation to stats ratio doesn't really fit, but it might do in the future. Right, okay, that was the Moneyball sort of scouting for January done. Again, we haven't really got as many players maybe I would have liked on the database. So if we could take a quick look at the database, actually. There might be a few that I've just scouted and I didn't put on the shortlist, but I just missed it by accident there. But if you look at the list overall, if I get out of the way, maybe here's the best, don't know. But that is it. Actually, it's all into one screen right now. That is your entire list right there. We've got players in every position. That is our database. So as the months and the seasons go on, this database will just get longer and longer and longer. Like generally, at some stage, I will start to move players off the list too. Maybe a player's been on there for like 4 or 5 years and the team's really got away from their level and they're no longer really a viable option. Maybe like we're checking through their stats throughout the years and there was 1 year they hit the stats, but the rest of the years they were nowhere near. So that 1 year was an outlier. So sometimes you can move players based on stuff like that too. But for now, this is the list that we've got. And yeah, we'll see how it all goes through into January. Into January, the one thing I want to sign is I want to sign the striker. I want to sign a central field player if I can. And let's go from there and let's see maybe who we need to sell. Like some players have got an interest in them. Some players have generated interest because they're just not getting played, I guess, in the first team by the manager. Some first choice players have generated interest too, which we could cash in on. I'm not interested really in selling Makita yet. I feel like he's got 2 years left on his contract or 1.5. And I just don't see the point in letting him go. Like we haven't really got somebody else. So if it was like, okay, he's the first choice, he's worth loads of money, but there's somebody ready to come in who's just as good, so we're going to be fine. I might say okay. Maybe Fede Layson and Cabellos could do it without him, but then the next in line would then be Hernandez. So you think all those games that Layson's been playing, and Cabellas has been playing, would then be taken up by Diego Hernandez. So you just sort of like go down the list a little bit, don't you? And you sort of throw some things into the into question there. So anyway, that's going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to transfer this to anybody. I think we'll likely leave it just for now. By the way, I forgot to mention, I did sign Cameron Puertas to a brand new 4-year contract. So that locks him in for 4 years. So what that basically does now is when we get to the end of the season, if we want to keep him, we can. If we want to sell him, we still can sell him. But it just gives us the option now to keep him because I think he had 2 years left on his contract. So the end of the summer would have had 1 year left. And if he was refusing to sign a new contract when it comes to the summer, I'd have to sell him. Whereas now we're in control of the situation instead of it just being him and we're beholden to the situation. We're now in control of it, which is good. Okay, we've got a chance at a trophy here. What we'll do is I'm going to go off camera now and just do some of these transfers negotiations that I've been doing and scouting the players. I'll try and avoid bidding for anybody new, or at least offering him a contract until you're back with me. But I'll just get through this. I'll just get the scouting reports and stuff out the way. And yeah, we'll see how all of this comes back. But we'll come back for the Antwerp game because we've got a chance to win a trophy this season. Despite how bad everything has gone, we had a terrible start. We're doing terribly in the league. We have got a chance to win a trophy, both in Europe and in the domestic competition. But we'll come back and we'll watch the Antwerp game together. There's not too much point in watching any league matches right now, but we'll watch the quarterfinal together and we'll just go from there in terms of watching matches. And I mean, the idea would be to watch that match and then maybe watch the knockout matches. Maybe after this round, if we get a relatively easy draw. What I'll likely do is for the first leg, I'll probably holiday that. And if the game looks like a server, we can holiday the second. But if it's within play, we can maybe watch it. We'll see how it all comes together. Right, okay, let's go away now. Let's hopefully have a very good January transfer window. And I'll join you back here in a few weeks' time and we'll see how things have developed. Well, I'm just going through it right now. That's not a good start, is it? Santiago Cáceres has decided to sign a new contract with his current club. So, gutting. A bit of news. Rui Faria finished third in Manager of the Year. So, that can't be based on this season, though. I mean, it is being given out in terms of the calendar year, I guess. But, yeah, there we are. Okay, so Polvera and Duarte did both join us for the fees that I showed you that we're able to bring him in for. So, 1.5 going up to 2.5 potentially, and 2 going up to 4 potentially. 2 really good signings, I think, there. Duarte, I think Duarte needs to learn to play central field because I think that's sort of where he could end up playing for us too. So we'll get him there and hopefully get him natural in yet another position. Gives the manager a bit more of an option there. And then Polvera is a striker and he can do whatever the manager wants him to do there. Gives us another option though. That's good. Okay, so to bring you a quick update, we have been able to offer the 2 players that have got their contracts expiring that we looked at, Jan Erbic and Diego Collado. We offered them both contracts for 1,400 per week and 5,750 per week, which is pretty good value, I think, there. Matteo Irate, the unproven player, they've accepted an offer of £170,000 for him on 2,100 per week on a 3-year contract. So that's out as well. And then finally, Sammy, our friend from Paris FC, we've offered £500,000 to. That has been the deals I've put out so far. One thing to note is the club finances. We're down to 4 million now. I don't want to spend all the club's money, like the finances in the club, if I can avoid doing that. There's some interest in some of the players, but the players that we've already signed are only here on have only got interest on loan. So by the way, I made a decision on the player attribute reveal. I think what we'll do, unless anybody has any major objections to this, we'll do it at the end of every season, but I'm only going to do it for players that we've already signed. So I'm not going to do it at the end of this season. If we don't sell anybody that we've already signed, then I'm not going to do it. So we're only going to see player attribute reveals of players that we've actually signed through the Moneyball system. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. So the existing players are great to have with us now, but we'll only look at the players that we've actually signed in the Moneyball system, which I think makes a bit of sense. And so far, this is our current database sorted by value. So we have the most expensive players there at the top, and then the cheapest players down at the bottom. And Erbic is one of those. We've offered him a contract. Nobody else offered him a contract just yet, but he's really been banging in the goals, hasn't he? So I'm really interested to see how he does if he comes in, if he gets played at all. The scouts do quite like him, apparently. But unfortunately for us, it doesn't matter what the scouts think. It's what the manager thinks if he's going to play him or not. One other way we can affect the team selection, but not completely, would be like this. So this is the quick pick settings, right? So what we could do, right, we can ask the manager to do a quick pick of the starting 11 before the match is actually played. But what we could do is we can select here player importance. So, I mean, we can put the physical condition into if we want to. But what we could do is say that the player is at least a regular starter. And then what we can do is we can make sure at the start of every season, we can go through and select the players that should be more considered for first team action. So he's going to pick players based on the criteria that we've set for each game. So, for example, now if I set this as the minimum is going to be regular starter, we're going to confirm that. And then I'm going to ask him to pick the team. Everybody's relatively fit. So what that's done is he's picked the team based on players that have a minimum of regular starts. Obviously, there isn't an entire 11 for that. So I'd have to go through maybe one lower. So let's clear the squad again. And let's go back to the quick pick settings. And let's maybe change it down to at least a fringe player. And pick the team again. So there is a team now. So now he's picked the team based on that. But we can start to mess with that on the players. And I guess it's a way of us having like an element of control over the starting 11 without actually telling him to pick somebody specifically, right? If there's like a really good youngster we want playing, we just bump them up into that category. We can start to look at that too. Okay, so the first relatively big offer is coming in for a player. We've got a just under £4.3 million offer for Kevin McAllister. I think I'm going to accept this and then try and offer him up for slightly more because it just seems like the right thing to do for the amount of the money that he's worth. I mean, we've got a right back in the club that we like. Hopefully, he'll just play Noah out there, to be honest. But we could also look for another right back too. I think it's the right thing to do in this moment, so I'm going to accept that. Even though it's potentially to a title rival, I think it's a good thing to do. I've just realised that Makeda's not happy with something. Do we offer him a contract or do we try and let him go? Like, how much could we get for you? That's what I'm interested in. That's not really a lot, is it? We've got some good centre backs, I think, in the database right now that have hit some good stats. So I'd be tempted to let him go. The other thing I've done is we did sign Jan Urbich on a free transfer, but to buy him now was going to cost me 45 grand. So I went ahead and did that. It's like if I was to offer him a new contract, how much does he even want? That's the question as well, right? So he wants about 9. We could probably get him something like this. So 8 grand a week for Makeda, which is over double his current wages. I think we just let him go, to be honest, and we just try and. I mean, the season's already gone right in terms of like we're not going to win the title. I think it's a really good time to try and make that switch, right? So, and then if we were to replace him, Gabriel Aranda would be my choice to replace him. We've offered 500 grand for him there. We could get him on loan as well, but I don't think we really want to do that. So we've also had a 3.5 offer straight up from Getafe for McAllister. So he's got a choice for really good at Genk for what is, I think, 4 point something, isn't it? But over loads of installments, or just 3.5 up front to Getafe. Whichever he wants to do doesn't really matter to me. It works either way. They rejected our youth improvements, but they accepted our training facilities. I'll probably try and... Let's just push back on this now and see if we can get this... No, they're not wanting to do that. Okay, that's fine. No, training facilities is good. Okay, then, here we go. It's going to be the Cup quarterfinal against Antwerp. We're going to see how we do in a big game. Our only chance really to win a trophy this year. And it could be Makeda and McAllister's last games for the club. In fact, I didn't really look at a right back to sign if we were to lose McAllister. Do we want to sign a right back? And we've got Samir, of course. Samir would be the one that we would sign. A 1.5, about half what we're going to get from McAllister. So that's really good. If we get somebody who we feel is just as good, but for half the price, that's pretty good. We'll see if they accept that. Here we go then. Antwerp, quarterfinal. Let's see if we can get ourselves close to a trophy. So he's gone. Okay, what's interesting here is looking at his team right now. If the transfers go through that are supposed to be going through, McAllister will be gone, and Murillo here, who keeps playing pivot, which is forcing Puertas to be played higher up, Murillo is going to get sent out on loan. He's had some loan offers. I've accepted one that's basically paying his wages and giving us, like, I don't know, 10 grand a month. So we'll get some of the transfer feedback for the rest of the season. And then Makeda too. So there could be 3 players in that sort of defensive block there that could be gone by the next game. Duarte, he's actually going to start Duarte. So Duarte is the player that we signed in January. He's going to start him for his very first game immediately, for the first game that he could possibly play. Here we go then, Union, quarterfinal. Here we go. It is the first highlight of the first half, and it's going to be a highlight for them late on as we enter towards half time. They go into the box, we clear it. Maybe it could be for us. We win the ball. Play it back now here. Farid plays it into Puertas. We're going to find our new left winger, are we? Potentially here. We're going to make it towards the left. Just going to freeze it here. I mean, we're quite spread, aren't we, in our shape? You've got 2 centre-backs. We've got no inverting players, so no inverted fullback, no inverted wing-back. Both players are quite spread wide. And leaves our structure pretty open for counter-attacks here and here, you would think, maybe. But Amora goes through, shoots from distance. Oh, what a goal that is! Unbelievable strike from Amora. It's going to be 1-0 to Union, and we take the lead. Let's watch this again. Absolutely incredible strike from Miles. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't quite sure how the highlight was going to play out, to be honest, after this point. But he takes a shot from distance. What a strike that is. 1-0. Another highlight for them here in the second half. They're going to play it down the sides. We're going to win this ball. We're not going to win it here. Okay, so it's going to potentially be their highlight here. They're going to get a chance. They go through the left-hand side, play into the middle. They're going to got a free play. They could have played here. They might turn over again. Now they keep the ball. We could have turned it. Oh, we nearly won it twice there. We nearly won it twice, but we didn't. So it could have been our highlight, I guess, in those situations, but it's not. It's definitely going to be theirs now. They go through, they shoot, and what a finish that is, and that is going to be a 1-1. Highlight immediately after. Pereira plays it in to the left winger. The new left winger, Duarte, plays the ball over the top to Ferrioli. Gets the ball, plays it across goal. All right, he shoots and he scores, but it's going to be offside. Corner. You know what this means? It's going to be a chance. Is it going to be a goal? They're whipped in. It's brought down. Amora gets a chance. Oh, he could have shot from distance again. Plays it back out to the taker. Ferrioli goes through. He shoots. Oh, what a finish that is. It's going to be 2-1. We got a chance at a trophy. What a finish this is. It's getting so much more exciting now when it's our players, it's our Moneyball players making a difference. Ferrioli gets it back from the edge of the area, drifts inside, weaves past the first player, takes a shot, curls it to the far post, and that is going to be 2-1. Come on, boys. Time is starting to run out for the opposition. They've got a highlight here. They turn it over. Puertas gets it. He releases it to Ferrioli. Cuts inside. Drifts inside to Amora. Amora gets a shot away. He scores. It's 3-1. And that should be game over based on how we defend usually as a team. Come on. And that is going to do it. 3-1 victory for Union. What a result, boys. Really good performance away from home. Really convincing victory. Yeah, Duarte made his debut for us, which was really good. Really good start to his career at the club. By the way, I've actually just started off the scouting being done the way that I like it to be done. So essentially what I do is I get a scout for almost every region, and I set them out like the following. So for this one, make sure that I have it selected on ongoing. I make sure I'm completely up the way here so you can see this all. So I basically, recruitment name. So you name it the region that you want. So this one is Western Europe. We have a transfer type of transfers. I go to 1.5 star and 2 stars minimum. 15 to 25 age bracket. Areas Western Europe. Ongoing is the most important thing to keep here. So they continuously keep scouting this area. Then I assign the scouts. I don't really care about the analysts. I just leave that blank. But the scouts, I'll make sure I assign the specific ones. And then what I do is when I hire scouts, is I tend to just name them after the region that they are at, because it's just easier. It's easier just then to keep track of and follow. Like if I lose one, I don't have to think, oh, which one. See, I know by the name of what region they are. And what I tend to do is I tend to have one scout for a lot of the regions, but then I tend to stack and have a few scouts in Central Europe, Western Europe, South America South, and South America North. I tend to have more than one. I tend to have maybe three. Maybe 3+ in Central Europe and Western Europe. I try to have 4 in South America South, and I like to have a couple in South America South North. But we're a long way from that because I only have 5 scouts right now. So we're starting off with the bare minimums. So we've just got Central Europe, Western Europe, and South America South right now. Those are the only really 3 regions we've got. The chief scout does next opposition and that sort of stuff, really. He's there just to facilitate a lot of stuff. But that's what we have there. And that's how I like to set it up generally. But eventually that'll become like a massive thing. Hopefully eventually we get so many scouts that I can just have one in literally every region within the game. But we're a long way from that right now. We're going to invest in the recruitment because that's where we're going to be investing in the recruitment though, because that is where this series is going to be defined, isn't it, by our Moneyball strategy. So this is the most important thing right here in the scouting department and building up the staff as it were. We've completely redone the structure and we'll get there eventually. So we've had a 1.3 million offer accepted for Aranda, who would be the centre-back replacement here. We'll get him straight up to regular starter. We'll get that there, okay. We can try and get him for that's like our artificial salary cap, isn't it? We're putting on ourselves here. If we can get him for that, that's an incredible deal. That is an absolutely outstanding value for money deal there. If we can get that, I'm not sure if we are. We should be getting some offers from Makita any day now. I mean, they want quite a bit for Samir. I mean, we'll go up to 2 maybe. We'll try that. So Makita, we've got £2.8 million. So the replacement we're bringing in for Makita is going to cost us 1.3. So that's already a much better scenario for us. So what I'm going to try and do is, can we get 2.5 and can we get some installments just to spread the cost out a bit so we can continuously get that money, entering into the football club across like a longer period of time rather than just all being in one go. That would be really useful. He can go out on loan because we've already got players. I mean, we've already got Polvera and we've got Jan Erbic to play striker. So I'm actually going to let him go out on loan as well. If we can get, preferably some wages would be nice though. So I got the offer that I was looking for. So if we accept this one, what I'm going to do now is then offer him out for 2.5 again up front and then a whole million over the installments. Okay, so they've accepted 2.1 for Samir. Now, I'm still not quite sure if this is going to be, we're going to have to get below 7.5, definitely. I mean, I'll sell you for what we bought you for if we get relegated and you get a minimum fee release clause of 10. If somebody gives us 10 straight up, you can leave. No, okay. 725, you can have that. Okay, it's taken that. So we get Genk in the semi-final of the Cup, and it is over 2 legs, so we'll definitely come back, I think, for that. We also beat Bruges. Well, there you go. We managed to beat Club Bruges. Were they not top? No, they were in the top areas, though. So we've got a nice 2-1 win away from home. We've beaten 2 sides quite near the top of the league now in the last 2 matches, which is good to see the team recover. And the players that are leaving, I've taken out the first team squad to basically see how the manager's now going to react to the team selection. And as you can see, no Makeda, no McAllister, and we still won away from home with the youngster right back. So really interesting stuff. That gives me a bit of confidence that we're going to be okay, I think. Although the XG between the 2 teams doesn't look great there, does it? But we won. And Erbic got the winner. Our new young striker, Erbic, got the winner. Let's watch this together. Let's see what happened. This is why it's great to see these moments together, right? That's why this is great, isn't it? To see these moments together. Let's see how Erbic got the winner for us. Oh, we turn over the ball, goes through. What a strike that is. Absolute rocket from the Moneyball striker. 54 grand. All 54 grand of him gets the winner. And that's going to be 2-1 to Union. Come on, boys. Love it. I love that. Don't you love that? 47 grand he cost us and he just scored the winner in a game like that. That is cost effective right there. Okay, so we've just sold Makeda and we've sold McAllister, and that's left the following, and it's left the finances looking like the following. We've currently got 6.9 million in the overall balance. Projection is currently this. Transfer debt is now back in, well, the negative really is the positive for us. We're getting more money coming in than is going out, which is good. Obviously, we're about to make 2 signings here, but neither of these 2 are installments. We've got a right back coming in for 2.1 and a centre back coming in for 1.3. So altogether, that's going to cost us £3.4 million for the 2 players, right? 3.4. And we've just sold 2 players for 6.4 million upfront guaranteed with more incentives to come on McAllister. So really useful. Okay, welcome to the club. Samir, our former player from the Paris FC save, comes in. Updating the metrics to play right back. I mean, hopefully he doesn't play centre back. I mean, he might play him centre back, I guess. He might play him pivot as well. There's a lot of places he could play him. We're going to make sure that he's learning to play right back so he's a natural there, because that's really what we brought him in for. That's where he's being played last season for his team, but we'll see. And yeah, there was some worries about the squad depth. That's now been undone, which is good. Gabriel Aranda has agreed to join as well, and he's joined for his wages of £5,750 per week, which is absolutely brilliant for us. That leaves the bank balance looking like the following: 3.5 million there. Projection still looking like that. What's our overall net spend so far? Our overall net spend is basically minus £10 million. We've made £10 million profit so far at the football club. Another win. Another game, another win. 2-0 win, 70% possession for us. But we did play the team that had been promoted last year, so it was expected to see that win. However, even so, it's still another win to add, and we've got bottom of the league next, while we then go into the game against Ghent. We've got a really good chance of going into the Genk game in the Cup semi-final, having won every single game in the calendar year so far, which is great. 4-0 win against bottom of the league, which was very expected, wasn't it, to be honest? Leaves the league table looking like this. We're actually gaining some serious ground on everybody at the top now, which is great to see. Okay, so that is it. The January transfer window is now closed. Everything has been done that can be done. I think we had a pretty good window. Small step, small building block progression, I think, more than it being an overall massive step, massive leap forward. It's more of a small step rather than a huge leap. But we managed to make some progress. We've sold Makeda, McAllister, 2 players for decent money. And we've replaced them with 2 of our own Moneyball signings, which is great to see that we're getting some of our own players now into the mix on a more regular basis. So it's really good to get our own players into the squad. What will be quite a nice milestone is the very first moment in the entire series where the entire squad is a Moneyball squad. Players that we've signed with our own metrics and our own recruitment strategy. That'll be quite a nice moment to watch out for. That moment isn't yet, though. We've still got a lot of existing players with us too. And if the existing players are hitting the metrics, that's good, but it's unlikely that they will stay for the duration, of course. It's unlikely anybody will, because I think every player has a price. Like if a club comes in with a big enough offer, there's got to be always a limit of like the stats output that they have just isn't worth the money that we're being offered, and we can look to replace them. But it's like we said about Amora earlier in the season, right? That and what's interesting to note here is Amora, 17 goals in 32 games. We were scoring hardly any goals at the start of the season. We were struggling to score goals, weren't we? We were not hitting our XG at all when it came to scoring chances. We were really, really poor. And your first thought is always striker, forwards. And it was actually the wingers and the central midfield players that were the ones that were missing the chances, right? And really were underperforming their XG, which was costing us quite badly. And as you can see now, Amora's on course to scoring, 25, 30 goals a season if he keeps it up. So looking really, really strong. Another point of note, Matthias Povera came on for his debut for the club in the last game and managed to get himself a goal as well, which was good to see coming off the bench. So both our new strikers have come off the bench and scored on their debut. So both of our strikers have come off the bench and scored on their debut. So things are working good for us at the moment. So what we're going to do now, we're going to miss the Ghent game. We're going to come back for the Ghent game. We'll come back for the 2 semi-final legs of the cup. We're going to come back and watch those together and see how the manager does with his Mourinho football across the semi-final over 2 legs. I'm really interested to see how he does in the 2 legs of the semi-final, because then it's going to lead us into European football. And again, like I mentioned before, it depends who we get in this round if we come back and watch it. If it's a team that we should really be beating, we'll definitely skip the first leg, and we'll see how the second leg is looking if we're gonna watch this game. And I'll see you in a few days for the cup semi-final, first leg against Genk.
I got to let it go and just enjoy the show.